Okay, so you've heard the term artificial intelligence thrown around a ton, right? And maybe it still sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But what if I told you it's already a huge part of your daily life in ways you probably don't even notice? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the AI that's all around us. All right, quick question for you. Just think about your day so far. Where have you already used AI? And here's a spoiler. The answer is probably, well, just about everywhere. And that's exactly what we're going to break down. And that's really the first big idea we need to wrap our heads around. AI isn't some far-off futuristic concept. It's here, it's now, and it's quietly working away in the background of our life every single day. I mean, just think about it for a second. That movie your streaming service knew you'd love? That's AI. All that junk mail that magically never hits your inbox? Yep. AI again. That text from your bank about a weird charge? You guessed it. You see the pattern here? The best AI, the really good stuff, it just works. It's so seamless, we barely even notice it. It's like this invisible engine humming along, powering our digital world. Okay, so if this stuff is everywhere, why does it even matter? Why should you care about how it works? Well, because in a world that's being totally reshaped by this tech, understanding it isn't just a nice-to-have skill. It's power. For real. Now, when I say AI literacy, don't panic. This isn't about becoming a coder or a data scientist overnight. It's about becoming a smart, critical user. It's about having the confidence to ask the right questions, like, hey, how did it get that answer? Or wait, what data is this thing even using? And maybe the biggest question of all, how can we make this better? See, it's all about engaging with it, not just blindly accepting whatever it tells you.
And trust me, this isn't just some homework assignment. Getting AI literate has some real practical payoffs for you, no matter who you are or what you do for a living.
So check this out. If you're a professional, this knowledge helps you streamline your work and make way smarter data-backed decisions. If you're a student, boom, you're boosting your digital skills and learning how to think critically, which is huge. And for everyone, it really just boils down to this: being able to navigate this tech-driven world with confidence and make choices that are right for you. Okay, but let's have a little reality check here. It's super important to understand the good stuff, but it's just as crucial to know its limits. AI is an amazing, powerful tool, no doubt, but it is not perfect. And honestly, anyone who tries to sell you on that idea isn't giving you the whole story. So here are 3 big things to always keep in the back of your mind. First, it's a mirror. It reflects any biases that are already in the data it was trained on. Second, it can be, let's call it, confidently incorrect. It'll state something as absolute fact even when it's totally wrong. And third, it's missing that human spark, that context. It's a master mimic of intelligence, but it doesn't truly understand things the way we do. And this slide, it gives us a perfect, real-world example of that whole overconfidence problem. Picture this. You're using an AI tool to help write a monthly report for your team. It spits out some data that looks really good, really official. But then you look closer and your gut, your experience, tells you something's off. And you realize, yeah, these numbers are a year old. The AI just saw a pattern in the data. You were the one who brought the critical context and human judgment to the table. And that right there is the key takeaway. You have to treat AI like a brilliant but sometimes unreliable assistant. Your expertise, your common sense, your willingness to double-check, that's not optional. It's absolutely essential. You are the final sanity check. This all leads us to what I think is the most important part of this whole conversation: your role in all of this. Because once you get how AI works and where it falls short, you're not just a user anymore. You're an active participant in shaping where this technology goes next. So, if you remember just one thing from our chat today, let it be this. AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but we are the ones holding it. It needs us. It needs our guidance, our ethics, our critical eye to be used for good. At the end of the day, it's following our lead. So I want to leave you with this one last thought. Remember, these systems don't actually think like you and me. They are incredible mimics. That's what they do. They've learned from a mind-boggling amount of human-made stuff. So the big question isn't, what's AI going to do next? No. The real question is, now that you know this, how are you going to guide it? AI, machine learning, generative AI, you've probably seen these terms popping up everywhere. But what do they actually mean? Like really? And how do they all fit together? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down these core concepts in a way that's actually easy to understand. Let's dive right in.
Okay, first things first. Before we get lost in definitions, let's talk about where this tech shows up in your day-to-day life. Because this isn't some sci-fi concept from the future. It's already here. So let me ask you a question. Have you used AI today? I'm willing to bet the answer is a big yes, even if you didn't really think about it. Just think about it for a second. Did you unlock your phone with your face this morning? Yep, that's AI. Asked a quick question to a chatbot on a shopping site? That's AI too. Or maybe your digital assistant suggested the perfect time for your next meeting. You got it. That's also AI. It's already woven into the fabric of our lives. So now that we know AI is pretty much all around us, let's pull back the curtain and see how it all works. We're going to start with the biggest, most foundational concept of them all. At its core, artificial intelligence, or AI, is really the whole grand idea of creating systems that can mimic human abilities. We're talking about things like understanding language, recognizing what's in a photo, or solving complex problems. It's the big picture dream of making machines smart. And probably the best way to visualize how all these terms relate is to think of them like those Russian nesting dolls. Where each concept is a layer that fits neatly right inside the next. So let's start with that biggest, outermost doll. This one represents AI, the entire field, the overarching idea. Everything else we're about to talk about fits inside this one. Okay, let's open that first doll. Inside, we find the next layer, machine learning, or ML. And this is where things get really cool. See, instead of a programmer having to write a strict rule for every single possibility, ML lets a computer learn directly from tons of data and find its own patterns. A great way to think about it is that machine learning is the engine that's really driving a lot of these intelligent features. It's the workhorse in the background that learns from experience, adapts, and just gets smarter over time. And in the business world, this engine is doing some serious heavy lifting. It can automatically figure out which customer support tickets are the most urgent, predict if a delivery is going to be late, or even spot a sketchy financial transaction. It's all about finding those hidden patterns in the data. But every engine needs fuel to run. So what fuels this machine learning engine? Well, the answer is simple: data. But not just any data. It needs clean, organized data. We call this structured data. Just picture a perfect spreadsheet, with neat rows and columns for things like sales orders, customer IDs, or inventory levels. This clean, consistent data is like the high-octane fuel that allows machine learning to make really accurate predictions. All right, so we've got our big AI layer and the machine learning layer tucked inside. Now let's peel back one more layer to find an even more advanced approach, one that's actually modeled after our own brains. And that is deep learning. It's a much more powerful type of machine learning that uses something called neural networks. And these are basically complex systems that are designed to work a bit like the connections in the human brain. And right here, this slide shows you the biggest difference. While traditional machine learning is a total champ with that nice, neat structured data, deep learning thrives on the messy, unstructured data of the real world. We're talking images, voice commands, and just raw text. This is a massive leap in what AI can do. This huge new capability brings us to our final, innermost layer, the one that has completely changed the game and is responsible for all the buzz you're hearing about today. So here's the crucial point. AI has moved beyond just analyzing information that already exists. Now it can actually generate completely new stuff. And that right there is the revolution. The shift from just understanding to actually creating. So how does it work? Well, it all starts with something called a large language model, or an LLM. These things are trained on just unbelievable amounts of text from the internet, books, you name it. And using all that knowledge, they can then create brand new content, not just sort through old data. They can write, they can summarize, they can even come up with new ideas. And this isn't some far-off fantasy, it's already here in the workplace. Take SAP's AI copilot, Joule. You can just ask it a normal question like, hey, what's our sales trend this quarter? And it'll give you a straight answer. It can draft emails for you, summarize super long reports, and even suggest what you should do next right inside your workflow. And believe me, this is just the beginning. The next big thing is autonomous AI agents, programs that can handle complex business tasks all on their own, like figuring out an invoice dispute or managing a supply chain without a human needing to guide every single step. Okay, Whew, that was a lot of layers. So let's pull all the way back out and take a look at the big picture and what this all really means for you. Think of it like a ladder. On the bottom rung, you've got the big overarching idea of AI. Climb up a step and you have machine learning, which learns from data. The next step is deep learning, which understands all that complex, messy data. And then, at the very top, you have generative AI, which can create something totally new. Each step builds right on top of the last one.
So, the real key takeaway here is this. Machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI aren't just buzzwords anymore. They are the actual building blocks that are turning that old dream of intelligent machines into our everyday reality. And that entire thing is built on a foundation of trusted, secure data. And that brings us to this incredible moment we're in right now. AI isn't just learning from all the world's information anymore, it's starting to add to it. Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What will we ask it to do next? Artificial intelligence. It feels like it's absolutely everywhere, right? Changing everything. But what if I told you the revolution we're all seeing today actually got its start over 70 years ago? Let's dive into the pretty surprising history of AI. I mean, it's easy to think that. It really does feel like it just popped up out of nowhere. One day, we're just going about our business, and the next, AI is creating incredible art, writing computer code, and acting like this creative partner. It seriously feels like it all happened in the blink of an eye. But the truth is, it didn't. Not even close. The really big, foundational ideas behind AI, they come from the 1950s. That means AI is basically as old as the jukebox and rock and roll. So how on earth did we get from there to here? Well, let's find out. All right, section 1. It's older than you think. We're going to take a little trip back in time. Think of this timeline as our roadmap. We're going to start with just a simple idea back in the 50s. Then we'll move through these things called rule-based systems, see the dawn of machine learning, and eventually land right where we are now, in this incredible creative revolution. Section 2. The dream of thinking machines. Let's get right to the very beginning, where the whole idea started. So before we go any further, what are we even talking about when we say AI? Well, at its very core, artificial intelligence is all about this one big goal: designing systems that can copy and sometimes even enhance the way we humans think. We're talking about problem solving, learning from experience, and adapting on the fly. And this was the starting gun. Back in the summer of 1956, a small group of brilliant scientists at Dartmouth College got together and asked a question that would literally change the world. What if machines could think like people? That one question officially kicked off the entire field of AI. But you know, that first spark of pure excitement, well, it didn't last. The super ambitious dream of AI pretty quickly ran into a massive wall, which led to a long period that everyone now calls the AI winter. See, the first wave of AI was built on really simple, very rigid logic. You can just imagine a giant decision tree based on these if-then rules. So, if some condition is met, then a specific action happens. You know, like if the inventory level is low, then the system places a new order. Super straightforward, totally logical, but also incredibly limited. And that was the fundamental problem. The ambition was a rocket ship, but the technology was kind of like a sputtering engine. The hype just got way, way ahead of what computers could actually do, and that led to some massive disappointment. And this whole period became known as the AI winter. The promises were just way too big for the time, the computers were painfully slow, and there was nowhere near enough data to actually train the systems. So what happens? The funding completely dried up, and for a couple of decades, progress in AI slowed to an absolute crawl. But like any winter, it didn't last forever. A huge, fundamental shift was coming that would change everything. Section 4, when machines started learning. Okay, this was a complete change in philosophy. A total 180. We went from the old way, where programmers had to painstakingly write every single rule by hand, to the new way, machine learning. Instead of giving computers a list of instructions, we started just giving them tons of data and letting them figure out the patterns for themselves. It was a total game changer. And this new approach started solving really complex, real-world problems. All of a sudden, AI could predict disruptions in a supply chain, detect credit card fraud in real time, and yes, filter all that annoying spam from your inbox. All stuff that was basically impossible with those simple if-then rules. And the best part? It kept getting better. The more data it saw, the smarter it got. And that in turn led to the next massive leap, deep learning. It uses these really complex algorithms called neural networks, which are actually inspired by the crazy web of connections inside our own brains. And it was this structure that finally gave AI the power to understand messy, real-world stuff like images, human speech, and text. And all of that amazing progress brings us right up to today, the era you're probably most familiar with. Section 5, AI becomes a creator. This is the AI of right now, and it's powered by these enormous things called large language models, or LLMs. Just think of them as gigantic neural networks that have been trained on pretty much the entire internet. The huge difference is right there in the name, generative. This AI doesn't just analyze information anymore, it actually creates brand new things, from writing your emails to generating computer code to designing an image from just a few words. So the role of AI has totally shifted. It's no longer just some quiet, hidden tool working away in the background. It's now pulling up a chair right next to us, becoming a true creative collaborator, an active partner we can work with to get things done. Okay, so we've traveled all the way from the 1950s to today. Let's connect all these dots in our last section and ask the big question: why does this whole journey even matter? You can see the whole story laid out so clearly here. It all starts with that simple if-then logic for basic automation. Then, that evolves into making smarter decisions with machine learning's pattern recognition. From there, we get deep learning, which can handle all the messiness of the real world. And that brings us to today's creative collaboration with generative AI. Each step was built directly on the one that came before it. So if you take just one thing away from this whole thing, let it be this. AI has evolved from what was basically a glorified calculator into a really sophisticated creative partner. Each one of those stages was a necessary step on that journey. And knowing this history isn't just for fun, it's absolutely crucial if you want to understand where this powerful technology might be headed next. AI's long journey has already taken it from a simple calculator to a powerful collaborator. And that leaves all of us with a really fascinating question to think about. What will its next chapter be? You know, we hear about AI all the time, right? It's everywhere. But what really makes it work? What's the secret sauce that powers all these incredible things it can do? Well, today we're going to dive into the single most important piece of the entire AI puzzle: data. And this right here, this sentence is the key to understanding everything. I want you to think of AI as a super high-performance engine. I mean, it can be the most powerful, most sophisticated machine ever built, but without fuel, it's just a very expensive paperweight. And in our story today, data is that fuel. So just how deep does this connection go? Well, think about it. Every single prediction, every automation, every little insight an AI comes up with, it all starts with the data it was given to learn from. Without that data, the engine just won't start. Right. And just like you wouldn't pour cheap, murky fuel into a Formula One car and expect it to win a race, you can't just throw any old data into a sophisticated AI. The quality of the fuel directly impacts the performance of the engine. It's that simple. If you want the best results from your AI, you've got to give it the best possible data. So that brings us to the really big question. What actually makes data AI ready? You know, what turns all that raw information into the kind of premium fuel that lets an AI make genuinely smart decisions? Because believe me, it's not just about having more data. It's about having the right data. We can actually break AI-ready data down into 3 essential qualities. If your data can check these 3 boxes, you are building your AI on a rock-solid foundation. So let's take a look at each one. First up, accessibility and structure. Now, this might sound kind of basic, but it is a massive hurdle for so many. Just think about it for a second. If your customer sales data is in one system over here, and your marketing data is in a totally different system over there, and they don't talk to each other, how on earth can an AI get a complete picture of your customer? The answer is, it can't. If the AI can't find the data or make sense of it because it's messy and all over the place, it can't use it. End of story. Next up is quality and relevance. You've all heard that old saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? Well, it has never been more true than it is with AI. If your customer address data is full of typos, well, your AI-optimized delivery routes are going to be a mess. If your sales figures are 3 years old, your financial forecasts are going to be, well, basically useless. The data has to be accurate, it has to be current, and it has to be directly related to the problem you're actually trying to solve. And finally, and this one is absolutely non-negotiable, trustworthiness and completeness. You have to know where your data comes from. Is it a reliable source? Do you even have consent to use it? And look, this isn't just about checking a compliance box. If your customers don't trust you with their data, guess what? They're going to stop giving it to you. And if your own team doesn't trust the data, they're never going to trust the AI's recommendations. Trust is really the currency that makes this entire system work. But here's the thing. Getting good data isn't something you just do once and you're done. It's a continuous process. It's a journey. We call it the data to value journey, the ongoing work of transforming raw, messy information into something that can actually power up that AI engine. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, that's the reality for a lot of companies, this whirlwind of raw, inconsistent, scattered data. The goal is to get from there to what you see on the right, a clean, connected, and truly relevant source of powerful insights. That's the transformation we're aiming for. So what's the end game here? It's to create a single source of truth, a trusted foundation of data where absolutely everyone, from marketing to sales to finance, is working from the exact same playbook. When you have that, that's when you start making truly smart, collaborative decisions. Okay, now let's get to the really fun part. We've talked about the fuel, we've talked about the engine, so what can this machine actually do once it's all fired up? What does a well-fueled AI actually look like out there in the real world? The impact is huge, and you can see it across the entire business. For instance, HR can use AI to predict which employees might be thinking about leaving so they can step in. Finance can automate all that tedious reporting. Logistics can optimize delivery routes on the fly, in real time. And marketing? They can create campaigns that are personalized for every single customer. But even with this incredibly powerful, perfectly fueled AI engine humming away, we cannot forget about the most important component in this whole picture, the one holding the steering wheel. And this is probably the most important thing to remember. AI is a tool. It's designed to assist people, to make us smarter, to augment our own intelligence, not to replace it. The real goal here is a partnership, one that helps us humans make better, faster, and more informed decisions. And that's why human oversight is absolutely essential. Look, an AI can analyze millions of data points and recommend a business strategy, but it can't understand the morale of your team. It doesn't get the nuance of a long-term client relationship. For those high-stakes, context-heavy decisions, you need human judgment. The AI gives you the what, but the human provides the why and takes the responsibility. At the end of the day, accountability always rests with people. So let's just tie this all together. It's pretty straightforward, really. AI needs high-quality fuel, data that is clean, complete, and trustworthy. Building that strong data foundation is the only way to unlock AI's true potential. And ultimately, it's that trust in your data that's going to drive real, tangible business success. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. Every single business out there is sitting on mountains of data. The real question you have to ask is your data just sitting there collecting dust? Or is it the high-octane fuel that's ready to power your company into the future?
When you hear the letters AI, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably something from a sci-fi movie, right? Super smart robots, maybe a computer that takes over the world. But the thing is, AI is already here. It's all around us, and it's definitely not just one thing. So let's pull back the curtain and really explore the entire spectrum of what artificial intelligence actually is.
And to get us thinking, here's a quick question for you. Is your thermostat, the one that keeps your house from freezing, as smart as the music app on your phone that somehow knows exactly what you want to listen to next? I mean, they both feel kind of smart, but as you're about to see, they're playing on completely different levels.
And that's really the key here. AI isn't this one single monolithic thing. It's a spectrum. Think of it like a ladder of intelligence. It starts down on the bottom rung with really simple automation and climbs all the way up to that sci-fi vision of a machine that can think just like a person. And if you can get your head around this spectrum, you've pretty much cracked the code to understanding the AI world we live in today.
So let's start at the very bottom, on that first rung of our ladder. We're going to call this the rule follower, or what we can think of as basic intelligence. Now, this might be the simplest form of AI, but believe me, it is the foundation for everything else.
Okay, so what are these systems? Well, they are pure instruction followers. You give them a set of rock-solid rules, if this happens, then you do that, and they just do it. Perfectly. Every single time. There's no learning going on here, no adapting. It's all about reliable, repetitive action.
And we run into this kind of AI constantly. You know that automated email you get when a bill is due? Yep, that's a rule-based system. Or your thermostat that knows to kick on the heat the second the temperature dips below a certain point? That's basic intelligence too. Super efficient? Absolutely. But is it actually thinking? Not really.
All right, let's climb up to the next level. Welcome to the specialist. This is artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI for short. And this is where most of the AI tools that are making all the noise today actually live. This is the AI of right now.
So, unlike our simple rule follower, the specialist can learn. It chews through massive amounts of data to spot patterns, make predictions, and make decisions. But, and this is the really important part, it can only do that inside its one specific, narrow little box. It's like a grandmaster at chess who can't even tell you how to boil an egg.
And this is where we see its incredible power. That music app that feels like your personal DJ? That's an ANI that's learned your taste in music. The massive logistics software that can predict a shipping delay weeks in advance, also an ANI. It's an absolute game changer for solving very specific, focused problems.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up what narrow AI is all about. The AI that can beat any human at a complex strategy game can't turn around and use that knowledge to help a doctor diagnose a disease. Its intelligence is totally locked into that one single job. It's a specialist through and through. And now we've made it. We're at the very top of the ladder. This is the big dream, the goal that researchers are sprinting towards. This is the dreamer, or artificial general intelligence, AGI. This is the AI of tomorrow.
So, what exactly is AGI? Well, it's the long-term ambition. It's a type of AI that, in theory, would be just as intellectually flexible as a human being. It wouldn't be a master of just one thing. It could learn, reason, and figure things out across any area of knowledge, just like you and me. And I gotta stress this does not exist yet. It's still in the realm of science fiction, for now.
I mean, just imagine the possibilities for a second. An AGI could analyze financial data, sure, but it could also understand the subtle context behind the numbers. It could come up with a business strategy and then pivot to learning a brand new language from scratch. It's that kind of flexible, adaptable thinking that's a true mirror of our own intelligence. So, we've climbed the whole ladder from the basic rule follower all the way up to the futuristic dreamer. Now, to really make this stick, let's put them all right next to each other and see how they stack up.
Okay, the first and maybe the biggest dividing line between these types is learning. It's really simple. Basic intelligence is static. It's fixed. It cannot learn. But both narrow and general AI, their entire existence is built on the idea of learning from new information and getting smarter over time.
This chart lays it all out perfectly. Just look down the rows. Task adaptability, basic, has 0. Narrow AI is stuck in its lane, so it's limited. And general AI? Well, that would be highly adaptable. Then look at intelligence level. You see that clear climb from simple automation to that powerful focused specialization, and finally to the theoretical human-like intelligence of AGI. It's a pretty clear picture. So, why do we need to know all this? What's the big deal? Well, because understanding this spectrum helps you cut through all the hype and all the noise. It helps you see AI for what it really is today and what it might actually become tomorrow.
So think of this as your own personal AI field guide. 3 simple rules. First, always remember, AI is a spectrum. It's not one thing. Second, recognize that pretty much every AI tool you use today is a specialist, or ANI. And third, and this one's important, know that general AI, or AGI, is still a goal for the future. It's not what's running on your phone right now. And that brings us to one last question for you. Now that you can tell the difference between the rule follower, the specialist, and the dreamer, which one do you think is actually going to change your world the most? Is it the incredibly powerful specialists we have today, or is it the adaptable, human-like dreamers of tomorrow? It's a lot to think about. Thanks for joining me.
You know, you can't go a single day without hearing about some mind-blowing new AI that can write poetry or create incredible art or even predict the future. But what if I told you that the real engine behind all this cutting-edge tech, is actually something much older, way simpler, and yeah, kind of basic? Let's pull back the curtain on this unsung hero of the digital world.
And that really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? I mean, in an age where machines can learn and adapt on their own, you'd think that these simple, rule-based systems are basically digital dinosaurs. It just feels intuitive, right? That the new, powerful stuff would completely push out the old. But as we're about to find out, that's not the whole picture. Not even close.
See, you got to remember, long before we had AI that could think or create, we had a kind of intelligence that could just do. It was this foundational intelligence, and it wasn't built on learning or guessing. Nope, it was built on the pure, raw power of following a perfect set of instructions flawlessly every single time. This was the bedrock. So what is this bedrock we're talking about? Well, let's call it basic intelligence. And honestly, the best way to wrap your head around it is with a sports analogy. If advanced AI is like the star quarterback, improvising and creating amazing plays on the fly, then basic intelligence is the rest of the team executing a pre-written playbook down to the very last detail. There's no guessing, no making up new moves, just running the play they were given with absolute speed and consistency. And when you put them side by side, wow, the difference is huge. Basic intelligence is all about rules and being predictable. You get the exact same result every time. Advanced AI, that's all about learning and making educated guesses. It's probabilistic. One follows that playbook we talked about, while the other is actually creating the playbook. Both are incredibly powerful, just in completely different ways. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. If this technology is so straightforward, it's just a simple, if this happens, then do that kind of system, why is it still the powerhouse engine running inside some of the biggest companies on the planet? Why hasn't it just been tossed aside? Well, the answer starts right here. We have to go way back to the 1980s. This isn't some hot new trend, folks. We are talking about technology that has been battle-tested for decades. Companies like SAP literally built their entire empire on these foundational, rule-based systems. So this tech isn't just old, it's proven. And you can really see its journey play out over time. Back in the 80s, it was all about automating those really tedious but absolutely critical tasks, things like matching invoices or planning inventory. Then, for decades, that incredible reliability made these systems the absolute trusted foundation of business software. And today, it's playing a whole new role. It's the enabler, the thing that's actually paving the road for all the advanced AI we hear about constantly. And this quote right here, man, it just nails it. It gets to the absolute core of why this matters. In the world of business, what you crave more than anything is consistency. You need to know that your inventory is planned correctly, that your financial reports are closed the exact same way every single month without fail. That right there is the superpower of basic intelligence. Flawless, predictable repetition. So let's break down what that superpower actually means for a business. Because it's all based on rules, the processes are super easy to document and for everyone to understand. That means the outcomes are perfectly consistent, which makes your entire operation transparent. You automate workflows with incredible reliability. When some trigger happens, like an invoice arrives, the system knows exactly what to do. There's zero guesswork involved. Okay, so it's reliable, it's been around forever, we get it. But this is the part of the story that changes everything. This is the big twist. The reason this quote-unquote old tech is actually more important now than it has ever been. It all comes down to this really elegant 4-step process. Okay, step 1. The basic system just runs on its clear, simple rules. Step 2. Because those rules never change, it generates this beautifully clean, structured, and totally reliable data. Now, think about this. What is the one thing that modern learning AI needs more than anything else to survive? Clean, structured data. That's its fuel. Which leads us to the amazing conclusion in step 4, basic intelligence doesn't hold advanced AI back. It's the very thing that makes advanced AI possible in the first place. So we really, really need to stop thinking about this as old versus new. It is not a competition. It is a powerful, powerful partnership. You've got the basic systems handling all the repeatable, predictable grunt work, and in doing that, they create the perfect fuel for the advanced systems to learn, to predict, and to create. They absolutely need each other to do what they do best. All right, so let's wrap this all up. If you're going to take away anything from this, here are the big points. Basic intelligence, with its predefined rules, is the undisputed champion of reliability.
It is perfect for those repeatable business processes. It's a technology that's been trusted at the core of business for decades. And, most importantly, it is the unsung hero that creates the clean, structured data that all the glamorous advanced AI absolutely depends on to even work. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. If something as simple as rule-based logic is this critical to our AI-powered future, it really makes you wonder, what other old tech is quietly humming away behind the scenes, making all the incredible innovation we see every day even possible? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, let's talk about AI. I mean, the term is absolutely everywhere, right? But for a minute, let's just push aside all the sci-fi stuff. In this explainer, we're going to dig into the real AI, the kind that's already a huge part of your life, whether you notice it or not. Think your inbox, your shopping cart, all of it. So let's dive in. So let's be honest, when you hear AI, where does your mind go? Is it straight to the movies? You know, some super smart, self-aware computer, maybe a robot that thinks and feels just like us? Yeah, that's a super common picture, but it's really not what's happening with AI in the world today. The truth is, it's, well, a lot more practical than that. Most of the AI that's actually powering our world today isn't trying to be a jack of all trades. Nope. It's designed to do one specific thing and to do that one thing exceptionally well. And that right there brings us to the key idea for today, artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI for short. Honestly, this is the real star of the show. It's a type of AI that is just laser-focused and incredibly good at one specific defined task. It doesn't have feelings or a big picture understanding of the world, it just has a mission. And here's the thing. You've already met this kind of AI probably a dozen times today. It's the engine that powers those eerily accurate shopping recommendations online. It's the software that scans your receipts and magically turns them into an expense report. It's even what helps businesses guess what you're going to want to buy next. And what makes it so powerful? It's all about that focus. Okay, so not all this narrow AI is the same. You can kind of think of it as a spectrum, right? From pretty simple to really, really complex. We're going to walk through the three main types, starting with the basic rule followers and working our way up to those super sophisticated digital assistants you might even be using right now. All right, first up on the spectrum, let's talk about the simplest form of ANI. We can call them the rule followers. And honestly, the name pretty much says it all. These AIs, or reactive machines, they don't have any memory of what happened in the past. They don't learn from experience. They just look at what's happening right now and follow a pre-programmed set of rules. That's it. It's like pure, simple, super reliable logic every single time. A really famous example of this is IBM's Deep Blue, the chess computer. It didn't remember old games or its opponent's style. Nope. It just analyzed the board as it was in that exact moment and calculated the best possible move. Or think about something in an office, a workflow that automatically sends an invoice to the right person for approval. It's just following a simple if this, then that rule. Super predictable, and that's what makes it so reliable. Okay, so let's move a step up the ladder here. This is where things start to get really interesting. Let's talk about the pattern spotters. So with this type of AI, we introduce a new ingredient, memory. A limited memory, anyway. This AI can look at past data to make smarter decisions in the present. It's literally learning from history to spot patterns. But, and this is the big catch, that memory is totally siloed. What it learns about, say, filtering emails, it can't apply to anything else. The knowledge is stuck in that one specific task. You see this every single day with your email spam filter. It's a perfect example. It learns what junk mail looks like because you've told it what's spam in the past. In the business world, you've got forecasting tools that chew through years of sales data just to predict how much stuff a company is going to sell next quarter. It's all about learning from the past to predict the future, but always within that one narrow domain. And that brings us to the top of the spectrum, the real cutting edge of narrow AI. This is the stuff that feels the most like science fiction, but I promise you, it's very much a part of our world today. I'm talking about the digital co-pilots. Now, this type of ANI is a total game changer. Why? Because it can juggle all sorts of different information at the same time. We're talking text, numbers, even images. It can understand context and apply kind of reasoning to become this incredibly powerful assistant for all sorts of complex tasks. And I guarantee you know these names. We're talking about tools like ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. They can whip up an email for you, generate some code, or summarize a 10-page article in seconds. And in a business setting, you've got tools like SAP Joule that can dive into your company's data, give you a quick summary, and even suggest what your next move should be. It's pretty incredible stuff. But, and this is maybe the most important thing to remember about all of this, even these amazing digital copilots have very real, very hard limits. They're still narrow. An AI might be able to summarize a legal document, for instance, but it doesn't truly understand the law. It could write code for a supply chain app, but it has no idea how to actually run a supply chain. They are absolute masters of their specific domain, but they cannot, under any circumstances, step outside of that box. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, if it's so narrow, then why is it such a big deal? Why is it completely transforming industries? Well, the answer is actually really simple. It's all about solving the right problem. So let's do a quick recap. We've got our three main types of ANI, right? The simple rule followers, or reactive machines, the smarter pattern spotters, which have limited memory, and finally, the really versatile digital copilots, or broad ANI. These three types, they are the absolute workhorses powering pretty much all the AI we use today. And that right there is the secret to its power. See, the point of narrow AI isn't to build a machine that can do everything a person can. Not at all. The goal is to build a tool that can do one specific, maybe really boring or really complicated task, but do it better, faster, and way more efficiently than any human ever could. And that, in business and just in our everyday lives, is unbelievably valuable. So, the next time you hear someone talking about a huge breakthrough in AI, try asking yourself this. What's the one thing that this AI is designed to do incredibly well? Because that's where the real revolution is actually happening. Artificial narrow intelligence is all about mastering these tasks, one after another, after another. The only real question is, what part of our world will it master next? Thanks so much for joining me.
When you hear artificial intelligence, what pops into your head? Is it some super smart robot sidekick? Or maybe a computer that's about to take over the world? Yeah, we see that stuff in movies all the time. But what if I told you that the AI we actually use every single day is, well, it's nothing like that at all. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and separate the Hollywood hype from the fascinating reality. So let's dive in.
All right, so let's start with the AI we all think we know. The one straight out of the movies. You know, the kind of brilliant, conscious, and sometimes kind of scary intelligence that makes for a really great story. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? They can master a game of chess, write a beautiful piece of music, or even, I don't know, fall in love. They're total generalists. They can tackle any problem with creativity and intuition that feels, well, human. It's an awesome and really compelling vision of what AI could be. Well, it turns out this brilliant do-it-all AI isn't just a movie idea. It has a real name in the research world, Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI for short. You can think of it as the ultimate goal, the holy grail that so many people in the field are chasing after. Okay, so we've put a name to the dream. But now it's time for a little reality check, because the truth about where AGI stands today, well, it might not be what you think. Now, the most important word on this slide is right there at the beginning, theoretical. See, AGI is defined by its ability to learn, reason, and solve problems with the same kind of flexible, general smarts that we humans have. It's not about being really good at just one thing. It's about being able to figure out anything. And here it is, the big reveal. It's not real. Not yet, anyway. All those self-aware robots and all-knowing computers from the big screen, for now, they are 100% pure fiction. So let's be crystal clear about this. AGI is a concept. It's a destination that researchers hope to get to someday. It is absolutely not a technology you can go out and use right now. What we're all interacting with every day is something else entirely. So if we don't have AGI, then what do we have? Probably the best way to get it is to think of the AI that exists today as a team of super focused specialists. Each member of this team has a very, very specific job, and they are absolutely brilliant at it. Let's meet the players.
Okay, this slide really lays out the whole AI landscape for us, so let's break it down. First up, you've got basic intelligence. This is your simple rule follower. Think, if this happens, then do that. It's great for straightforward stuff like matching invoices. Now, the next level up is where pretty much all modern AI lives today. Artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI. This is the focused expert. Your phone's voice assistant, the thing that recommends movies, the system that flags weird charges on your credit card, that's all ANI. It's incredibly powerful, but only at one specific job. And that brings us right back to AGI, the future teammate. This is that theoretical AI that isn't a specialist at all. It's a generalist that could, in theory, learn to do anything.
I know what you're probably thinking right now. We have these tools that seem unbelievably smart, that can write poems and code. Surely that's got to be AGI, right?
It's the biggest question in the AI world at the moment. Are these incredible new tools our first real taste of AGI? The answer, at least according to most experts, is a pretty clear and simple no. As mind-blowing as they are, tools like ChatGPT are still considered artificial narrow intelligence. Why? Because they're hyper-specialized experts in one very narrow domain, predicting the next most likely word in a sentence based on a mind-boggling amount of data they've been trained on. And here's the real difference. They don't actually understand anything they're saying. There's no consciousness, no self-awareness, no real comprehension of the words it's spitting out. It's just magically good at recognizing and repeating patterns. You could say there's no one home behind the curtain.
So, with that all cleared up, let's look forward. What exactly is this dream of AGI that everyone's chasing? What would a real one actually be able to do?
A true AGI would be a complete game changer. It wouldn't just perform a task, it would learn it. It could take something it learned from, say, physics, and apply that knowledge to a problem in economics. It could come up with genuinely new, creative ideas, solve problems it's never seen before, and at its core, it would understand, reason, and learn in a way that's a lot like how we do. Of course, getting there isn't just about building bigger computers. The road to AGI is paved with huge technical and ethical hurdles that the smartest people in the world are still trying to figure out how to even approach, let alone solve. So, here's where we are. The chase for AGI is one of the most exciting and ambitious quests in all of modern science. But as we inch closer and closer, the biggest question isn't just can we build it, it's should we? And if we do, are we ready for whatever comes next? Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk about AI. I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's shaping how we work, how we live, pretty much everything. But as this incredible tech gets more and more powerful, we have to ask the big questions. So how do we build the future of AI responsibly? Let's dive in. And really, this question is at the heart of the whole conversation. We're past the point of just being amazed by what AI can do. The real question, the one that matters now, is what it should do. As these systems get smarter and smarter, are we making sure they're also getting wiser? Are they fair? Are they accurate? Are they actually helping us? Because before we can get to wisdom, we have to be honest about a few inconvenient truths. You see, even the most powerful AI, if you just let it run wild, has some serious blind spots. And these can lead to anything from just being plain wrong to actually reinforcing some pretty harmful stereotypes. So let's break down these hidden risks. First up, we've got a strange-sounding but super important issue: hallucination. This is when an AI, especially the big language models behind chatbots, just makes stuff up. Now, it's not lying in the human sense. It's just spitting out patterns of words that sound totally plausible, but have zero basis in reality. And this example right here just nails it. Imagine you're a lawyer, you're using AI for research, and it confidently cites this perfect legal case that doesn't exist. The fallout from that could be absolutely disastrous. So this isn't just some quirky little bug, it's a genuine threat to accuracy. So how do we fix it? Well, the answer is you have to ground the AI. You tether it to real, verified, up-to-date data. And, this part is critical, you keep humans in the loop to double-check its work. Think of it as a brilliant but sometimes overeager assistant, not some all-knowing oracle. Okay, next up is a massive one: bias. See, an AI learns from the data we give it. And if that data is a reflection of our world, well, our world has a lot of historical inequalities and biases baked right in. The AI doesn't just learn those biases. It can actually amplify them and do it at a scale we've never seen before. And the stakes here, they are incredibly high. We're not talking about small mistakes. We're talking about AI systems that could unfairly deny someone a job interview, or a loan, or a place to live, all because of biased patterns it learned from old data. This is real life, real opportunities on the line. The solution isn't easy.
But it is clear. It takes deliberate, constant effort. It means you have to go out of your way to build diverse training data sets. It means you're constantly running audits to check for fairness. And you've got to have strong rules, strong governments guiding the whole thing.
Now, here's a risk that's kind of sneaky, one it's easy to forget about. AI models basically have an expiration date. Unlike you and me, they don't learn new things in real time. Their entire understanding of the world is literally frozen in time, at the exact moment their training data was cut off.
And you can see how that's a huge problem, right? If you ask an AI about a new scientific discovery or who won last night's game, you might get an answer that's completely useless, simply because its worldview is stuck in the past. And in a world that moves this fast, an outdated answer is basically a wrong answer.
Luckily, there's a really smart tech solution for this. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or just RAG. The best way to think about it is like giving the AI an open book test. Before it answers your question, RAG lets the AI go look up the latest info from a trusted live source. Then it uses that fresh knowledge to build its answer. It's a game changer for keeping AI relevant.
So this slide really pulls it all together. On one side, you've got this unchecked AI just running wild with the risk of hallucinations, bias, and old info. But on the other side, you've got responsible AI. And this is where we make the shift from just pointing out problems to actively building the solutions. Human oversight, fairness audits, and live data. All right, so we've looked at the risks. We get it. Now, let's get to the good stuff. How do we build AI that we can actually trust? It's not enough to know what can go wrong. We need a clear roadmap for how to get it right.
And we can look at some real-world examples, like SAP's approach, which is a fantastic model. It really boils down to 3 pillars. First, you build ethics in from the very start. Second, you train your people to use this powerful tool the right way. And third, you have a clear, active ethics policy that guides everything. It's all about being proactive, not waiting for something to go wrong. Now, building trustworthy AI isn't just about data and code. There's another huge piece of the puzzle, its relationship with our planet. And this is a really complex one, a genuine double-edged sword, where AI is both part of the problem and maybe part of the solution. Okay, on one side, we have to face the facts. Training and running these huge AI models is incredibly energy intensive. We're talking massive data centers running 24/7. That creates a very real environmental footprint, and we just can't ignore it. But, and this is a really important but, here's the other side of that sword. AI could also be one of the most powerful tools we have for sustainability. It can help us optimize energy grids, find waste in supply chains we never knew existed, and track carbon emissions with pinpoint accuracy. So it has this incredible potential to help fix the very problems it contributes to. So we've walked through the risks, the solutions, and this whole green dilemma. What's the big takeaway here? When you boil it all down, it comes to one thing: a shared responsibility. So let's lock in the 3 big lessons. 1. AI is not perfect, but its risks are totally manageable if we're smart about it. 2. This isn't just a job for the tech geniuses, businesses, users. We all have a role to play. And 3, sustainability can't just be an afterthought. It has to be baked into the conversation from day one. And you know, if there's one single thing you remember from all of this, let it be this quote right here. This idea is the bedrock of responsible AI. It's a tool to make us smarter, to help us see things differently. But our own logic, our ethics, our judgment, we have to stay in the driver's seat, always. Because ultimately, AI is just a reflection. It reflects the data we give it, the rules we set for it, the values we build into it. The technology isn't leading us anywhere. We are leading it. And that leaves all of us with the most important question of all. How will we choose to lead it?